Letting go isn't always easy, but for a lot of people, it's absolutely necessary. However, I understand that can be easier said than done. You may have experienced this, or you may be going through this now, or God forbid, you might find yourself in a situation like this where you're dealing with a man and you're struggling to walk away. Now, the reasons could be they vary because not every situation of needing to walk away from a relationship or a man is involving a bad guy. And that can be one of the hardest positions for women to be in. I always say one of the most difficult things is for a woman to be with a good man she's not in love with, because it becomes so much harder to validate and justify to herself and to others walking away. But again, if you don't belong there, we have to work on detaching from that situation so that you can position yourself to receive what is truly best for you. But again, I know that just saying, let him go, it doesn't help enough. You need more guidance than that. So I want to break down for you how you can get there, because I'm getting so many emails and DMs surrounding situations that involve women needing to learn or understand how she can carry out this process. So the first thing as a woman that you need to do is ask yourself, why are you really here? And be honest about what that answer is. Let me give you a quick story. I remember one time, this was a few years back, I had a client, she hit me up, we set up a session, and she's telling me about this man who she's in love with. This is what she's presenting to me, and she doesn't know what to do with the situation, all right? Because she's not happy, but she says she's in love with him. So we start talking so I can get some details out of her, and she starts giving me the whole rundown. Now, it turns out this man got out of prison. I don't want that to be a judging point for you, but it is a fact of the situation. He just got out of prison, or he's been out of prison for a little while. And it doesn't mean anybody who's been to prison can't be in a healthy relationship. But again, be mindful of that fact. And so since she was dealing with him while he was in prison, he gets out. She's basically been taking care of this man. And so I said to her, okay, explain to me why you love him. And when she ran down the list, it was everything about what she does for him. I love him because, I help him with being better, and I'm teaching him how to do this and that and all this stuff. And at the end of it, I said, did you realize that everything you mentioned was what you're pouring into him, but you have yet to tell me how he pours into you? And she froze. She was stuck. She didn't know what to say, because it actually finally hit her. Because unfortunately, the reality is that when you're in these situations, you can get blinded by a lot of things. And what she was being blinded by was fear. The real reason why she did not know how to let go of a man who was not pouring into her, who was not best for her, who was never that great to her, if at all, was because she was afraid to be alone. She was afraid to walk away from the sacrifice that she's made for this man. She was afraid to accept that she made the wrong choice, even getting involved with him. And there's a lot more we can go through, but the point that I want to convey here is that if you are going to break free from a situation that you don't belong in, and again, I have to throw in there, it doesn't always involve a quote unquote bad man, quote unquote toxic man. It could be a good guy, and we'll get a little bit more into that later. But if you're going to break free from this, you've got to acknowledge why you're even there. Because once we can start pinpointing why you're holding on, now we can address the deeper issues. So in that story, one of the examples was, or one of the reasons was, a fear of being alone. Okay? So now it gives me the opportunity, and even if you're not going to a coach or a therapist, it gives you the opportunity to dig deeper. Why am I afraid to be alone? Why do I struggle with this? Now we can start to identify the root issues that are contributing to this. Because the reality for so many people, and more specifically women right now, is that your struggle in the current relationship stems from something in your past. Something that you may think is irrelevant, or you have attempted to convince yourself is not relevant to your situation, but it absolutely is. And again, trying to address the relationship or what I need to do right now is really hard if you don't understand what has contributed to how you even got here. All right. So by acknowledging it and being honest with yourself about it, we can now really get to the root, as I said. But I want to go a step further. It's not just being honest with yourself about why you're here. It's starting to be honest with others about why you're here. Now, I know I can feel the fear in some of y'all at the thought of having to be honest with others about why you are still in this relationship, why you hold on to this man. And I understand the concerns that come with that. All right. I understand that you don't want people to use it against you. You don't want people to shame you. You don't want people. Hell, some of you don't want the pressure of being told to leave that relationship. And I feel the need to say this because it's hitting my spirit. I'm going to give you an example of an excuse that many women use, why they use it. So let's just get to it. A lot of women sometimes will try to proclaim the sex is really good in the relationship. And that's part of their struggle to walk away. When the truth is the sex is trash. I'm so sorry, but I have to be real. I have endless stories of women who have acknowledged to me that to the world, they make it seem like what's going on in that bedroom is so amazing, but in reality, it's not all that. But the reason why sex is one of the scapegoats that is used is because for whatever reason, society, and I say society to make it more of a general statement, tends to give a free pass when it's about good sex. When someone can say good sex, oh, I get it, I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like they are much more willing to not push against the need to walk away. They'll at least be hesitant or slow down. Many people, not everyone, but a lot of people. So claiming the sex is good, claiming the person is in love is another way to deflect or push away resistance from other individuals. So again, when you can acknowledge to other people what the truth is, now you take away the barrier of them not being able to give you the message you need to hear. Because now when they hear, I'm afraid to be by myself, or I'm afraid to walk away from this sacrifice, or whatever the case may be, I'm afraid that there's nothing better out there. Now they can give you words that address those concerns and fears. All right. Now you also have I have to use the word the weight. And it's not that I want you to carry this heavy weight around you of having people knowing what's going on, but that weight adds a level of pressure that now gives you an extra kick out that door that you need to walk out of. All right. So it is important that honesty starts to be had when it comes to why you're here, why you're holding on, so that we can start the process of you truly letting him go. The second step in letting him go is I want you to understand that holding on only does more harm. So here's one of the common themes I have seen with women who struggle to let go. It's the fear of, there's a few fears. There's the fear of hurting his feelings. So let's start with that for a second. And this is especially or more specifically true when the guy is that good guy and now you struggle to validate walking away from this man. All right. And so you may have even tried to break up with this individual. All right. You've tried before to walk away, but let's say he starts crying. He starts begging. He starts, I can't live without you, whatever the case may be. And now the guilt gets to you and you let him back in. All right. Or before you even reach that point, you fear that it's going to hurt him too much, devastate him too much, or that this is another thing hitting my spirit because it's come recently into something I had to address with someone. You fear that he can't live without you. When I say can't live without you, I mean literally you are the one holding the household up financially. And you feel like if I break up with this man, he don't got nowhere to go. Now, some of you might be like, I don't care. He can go be homeless for all I care. Yes, some of you have no problem with it, but there are many who, yes, that becomes one of the things that keeps you attached to this individual. But here's what I need you to accept. You are not doing him or you any favors by holding on longer. All you're doing is actually making things worse. Because number one, if your concern is hurting his feelings, well, guess what? His feelings are inevitably going to be hurt because you are not truly in love with him. And because you're not truly in love with him, or you have completely checked out this relationship, you cannot pour into him what he needs. So one way or another, he's going to end up miserable. And I would argue that it's harder or it's worse to be in a relationship and still feel like you're alone. To be in a relationship and not get what you need. Because if you're single, you at least have the opportunity to seek it elsewhere. But if you're in a relationship and you can't get what you need and desire and deserve, it feels like jail. It feels like you fell into a trap and you don't know what to do. That is not a good feeling to have. So again, you are not helping him by holding on to him. And even if it's the scenario where you worry that he cannot fend for himself financially, listen, sometimes people have to fall on their face before they finally get themselves together and do what they need to do. It's not to be insensitive. It's not to be harsh and dismissing of their feelings and their well-being. It's to understand that there's a process that needs to happen for some people. And all you've done is become this man's crutch. And he can't walk on his own. But you remove the crutch and watch how he figures out how to walk. And if he can't figure out how to walk, that's his problem. That's not yours. That's not yours. You're not his mother. You're not here to raise him. It's not your job. And I'll throw in also, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, let God tell you, because God may want him to go through a process of being alone, being on his own, all these things, as well as you, so that both of you can get what's truly best for you. So again, holding on does not help. But let me add another layer to this that is extremely common. It's the concern of the kids when kids are involved. Now, here's the thing. I know that it's tough, and I know that many of you have such a strong desire to keep your family, quote unquote, family together. And I say quote unquote because in reality, the family unit is not healthy in that situation. So it looks like a family, but it's not operating as a healthy family, okay? And I understand the concerns of the children and how they will feel. But I will say this, from my position, from doing this for over, 12 years, I think now, you're not helping the kids by keeping them in an environment that is unhealthy and unhappy. The vast majority, if not all, the people that I have ever coached, I'll say the vast majority, not all, have come from unhealthy households, have grown up in situations where they saw their mother and father was not best for each other. And all staying together did was either skew their perception of love and relationships, pour in toxic and negative energy into them, all right? Cause them to rebel in ways of, I don't ever want to be like my mom, or I don't ever want a man like my dad, or and sometimes they're trying so hard not to be their mother, they become their mother. There's so many issues I can talk about that stem from this, but the point is, you're not helping them, the kids, if the household cannot be made healthy. That's what they need most importantly. Now, I understand when we're taking it to now a situation where two people are married, it's a little more complex. However, I have to be honest. The principle remains the same. Who are you helping by staying if everything's going to be toxic and miserable anyway? Who wins? Nobody does. So you're not helping. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting them more. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad, because again, I know it's tough. But I want you to understand it only gets better if you can create a more positive environment. And if that positive environment has to be done separately, so be it. If it can be done together, that would be awesome. That would be the first option, of course, right? But if that cannot be achieved, then we can't keep holding on, hoping for things to change, because it's not just going to randomly change like that. All right, so we had the acknowledging of this issue. We have the understanding that holding on does not help. All right. Now we need to accept starting the process of healing. Now, notice I said starting the process of healing, because we can look at this two ways. Because some of you will be able to gather the strength to do what needs to be done and walk away, right? And now the struggle is staying away and not letting him back in. And what's going to help fortify your position and keep you moving in the right direction is getting the process of healing started, all right? However, there's some of you that are still struggling. And I don't want you to think that you can't start the process of healing until you actually leave the situation. No, you can start it now, because it will be in starting that process that will strengthen you to walk away, that will help you see things more clearly, that will allow you to address all the questions lingering in your head that you still are looking for answers to, that once you get some resolution to them, now you free yourself completely. So either way, whether you walk away today or you might take a month, hopefully not, but if you do, start the process now. Because as I mentioned earlier, it is in healing that you're going, or it is it's in diving into that process that you're going to be able to discover deeper things about yourself and why you are struggling to let go, as well as helping you break the pattern of ending up in relationships such as this. And again, I feel the need to mention, because it's hitting my spirit, even with the good guy that you're not really into. Because I'm sorry, that's not a good and healthy outcome for you, so to speak. It's not the right way to go about things, because if you're not really into the man, you're going to find yourself once again unhappy. Once you are unhappy, you're not going to be able to pour into this man the way that he needs. He will now stop pouring into you the way that you need. And now we have a cycle that gets more and more toxic, and it blows up in your face. It doesn't work. So it's best for you to learn how to get comfortable being alone. There was a quote I just posted a couple of days ago that said, until you learn how to be comfortable being alone, you won't always know if you're choosing someone out of love or loneliness. So it's important. And when I say comfortable being alone, it doesn't mean you're going to be alone forever. It doesn't mean you can't desire a relationship. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be single or wanting to be in a relationship, but you still have to learn how to be happy while you're single. You still have to learn how to have a peace within you when you're not in a relationship, so that you don't allow fear and the wrong motivating factors to push you into the arms of someone who is not best for you. So again, the healing process will allow you or will assist you in all these different ways. And it's important. And now I also feel the need to mention, because some of you might think, well, can't we try to heal together? There's nothing wrong with trying to heal together. I have a video about how you heal in a relationship together. However, you may not always have a willing partner. And you cannot wait for your partner to be willing in order to move forward with your own process. If he is prepared to join, I'm all for it. If resolution can be fine, we're not against true resolution. But let me say this, true resolution isn't about just fixing the surface issue that recently happened. True resolution is, can you two get on the same page, embrace each other's needs and desires, consistently pour into each other, and truly be happy with each other and being yourselves with each other. If that cannot be achieved, it's time to go. So you might, because a lot of people think, oh, well, we fixed this one little issue here, or we finally addressed it. Yeah, but the quality of the relationship is still not what it needs to be. So what's the point of continuing? So again, start the process of healing, but it cannot be contingent on if he joins in. You have to do what you need to do to ensure you end up where you need to go. All right, so now the next thing, and I want to just quickly run through this one as we continue with this video, because this kind of connects to the healing process. So the next step in how to let this man go is you getting everything off your chest. So I'm sure many of you have heard the quote, "The truth shall set you free." All right. And I think people don't process that quote, that scripture correctly, because what you're not realizing is that when you don't speak your truth, you live in bondage. You live tied to the lie. All right. And now that weighs down on you. Now you can't experience life to your fullest because you're not living in your truth. So when we don't get things off our chest, when we don't express ourselves and we suppress, we create more problems. We create that bondage, all right, or strengthen that bondage. We now have a stronger, unhealthy attachment to this individual. Let me put it in even better perspective for you. There's many women who have walked away from a man, but never got everything out. And they still find themselves months later, even though they may have successfully on the surface detached from this man, they have not emotionally detached. They have not truly flushed it out of their system and spirit because they have not released the truth they needed to speak. They have not allowed themselves to get everything out. This is why this is a huge part of the healing process. If you've ever read my book, Love After Heartbreak, or been in my membership program, then you know things like writing a letter is huge. It's extremely important because you have to release. You don't heal by suppressing, you heal by releasing. All right. And it also allows you to have the confidence and the peace of knowing I said everything I needed to say. I addressed everything I needed to address. There's nothing left here. Because one of the other examples of ways this keeps a woman or people in bondage is you start to have this idea, well, maybe if I would have asked him about this, or maybe if I would have said that. And it's that thought of the if and the maybes that now keep you holding on emotionally and doesn't allow you to find the peace that you need. So it's like, let's kill all that. How do we kill it? We address it. We get it all out. Now, granted, there's some questions you may have that won't be answered. But notice, this isn't about you getting questions answered. This is about you releasing what you need to say, how you feel, how this has impacted you. Because again, once you do that, it's like an emotional detox, and you will feel a weight being lifted off your shoulders. And I'm giving you examples of women who walk away but haven't done it, and how that causes a struggle. But imagine the struggle it causes while you're still in it, because you're not speaking your truth. All right. As well as I feel the need to mention being honest with him completely about what you're feeling. Some of you don't feel confident about your reasoning for wanting to let go. And so instead of being honest about it, you try to dance around the real issue. But here's the thing I've learned. People can sense when you're not being completely real with them. All right? At least in situations like this. Have you ever had a guy try to break up with you or not want to date you, and he's giving you some random BS answer, but it's like you can tell it's nonsense. You can tell this is not coming from a genuine place. And so now that creates, if you are not healthy or you are attached to this individual, it doesn't allow you to let go, because to you, this doesn't make sense. So imagine what it does to that man. When you're giving him a reasoning that isn't real, it's like to him, this doesn't make sense. So since it doesn't make sense, I have to keep pushing, keep holding on, or I have to convince myself of the reasons this is really happening. And those reasons are going to be reasons that I can validate not giving up, not letting go, not accepting that you no longer truly want to be here, or that you have come to realize you don't belong here. So being honest will not just set you free, it can set him free. And that's why getting things off your chest, being open and transparent is going to help you do what needs to be done. All right, so we got a couple more to go. And so this next one is, of course, to me and to anyone who's a believer, should be one of the biggest parts of all this. How you let this man go is by first talking to God and seeking guidance on how to proceed with this situation. All right. Now, this would automatically be on the list, but there's another reason why I felt like I had to dive into this even more. I had a situation recently, a woman who DM'd me, and I don't typically answer my DMs, so I don't want y'all to think like I'm just out here answering all these questions. However, sometimes something may happen. There's a moment where somebody catches me at the right time, because I'm usually not even always checking my DMs. But anyways, the point is, she DM'd a quick question, and she stated that, she had a good guy. She did not know what to tell him to let him go. And she was a spiritual woman. And I said, well, listen, one of the best and easiest things you could do, and I mean, not say easy, but one of the best things you could do is pray. And if in prayer, you can honestly say, God is telling you that you need to let go, that's what you tell that man. Now, does every man accept that? Of course not, because it depends on what that man's spiritual relationship is, and simply how attached is he to you. There's various things that can contribute to him trying to dismiss you saying that. But what I have found is that if the person is spiritual, that becomes a harder thing for them to push against. Now, again, don't just say it to say it. Don't just use God as some kind of shield if you didn't actually go to him and seek guidance. But if you did, and you can say that in a genuine way, then yes, I do believe that helps at least lower the pushback you will get. All right. So it will help in that regard. But of course, it helps in you finding more confidence and strength to do what needs to be done. When we're trying to navigate life on our own and through our own understanding, then a lot of different things will now start to become noise in our head. We'll start to now put weight on the opinions of friends or family, or we spoke to this person and they said this, or our own logic and reasoning. But what trumps all that is spiritual guidance. What trumps all that is listening to God. Let me say this. There's a lot of people that when they were in relationships that they should not have been in, and I asked them, did you pray and ask God if you should even be here? The answer is no. And the big reason why it's no is not because these people don't know about how to pray. It's because they were afraid to go to God and hear the no that he was going to tell them. Because in their spirit, they already knew this was not the right choice. But they wanted to convince themselves that it could be. They wanted to convince themselves it could work. So in order to make it easier for them to move forward with the wrong individual or the wrong situation, they just didn't pray about it at all. Because once you do, and once you have it in the back of your head that God's been telling you this ain't it, it becomes a lot harder to do it. It becomes a lot harder to ignore. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people who heard they should walk away and remained for years. All right. But it helps in most cases to give you that extra kick in the butt that you need to do what is truly best. So now I want to give you two quick things, because you notice a lot of what I told you on how to let him go was about fortifying yourself, giving you the clarity that you need to do what's necessary, understanding why you need to walk away from this man. All right. However, there is a aspect of how to not just communicate this to him and tell him, but also how to strengthen yourself once you have walked away. So the two things we kind of already mentioned this, so we're just going to talk about it real fast, is again, be honest with him about how you're feeling. All right. Not just honest about the issues you've had with him. Because again, for example, if you just know, let me give a quick story. This is what hit me right now. I remember someone I knew who was in a relationship. They were in a relationship for maybe 5-7 years. Okay. And there was some on and off going on in there, but they were on the verge of getting married a couple times, to be honest. So, but it was always this idea of there's just these issues here, and if this can just be fixed, we'll be fine, right? So she ends up essentially giving the relationship a test run. When I say test run, meaning for a month they lived together, or a couple months they lived together, and during that time, the man did everything she said she was hoping he would do. she used the words, he was pretty much perfect during that time. However, she still felt like this isn't it. And so now that made it clear as day that this simply wasn't it. So the reason why I give you that story is because sometimes it's not about specific issues. And I know that's to some people, this is like, no, this is crazy, because then it gives people all kinds of just random reasons to walk away. Listen, if someone is searching for random reasons to walk away, let them go anyway. All right. Be happy. All right. Or and if it's you doing it, then all that's telling you is that you don't really want to be there, or you are not healthy enough to be there. So, and this goes back to number one. If it's about you not being healthy, you do need to be honest about that. But sometimes we just know this ain't it. It's not about what they did, they didn't do. It's just not it. And we have to be honest that, you know what? It's just not here. You're a great person, but we're not the right fit. That's what it really boils down to. Many times, many people are just not the right fit for each other. It has nothing to do with being bad people. But when you hold on longer than you're supposed to, or you get engaged and involved with someone that you shouldn't, then even good people turn bad. That's what a lot of people don't understand. These situations of this person doing this and that person doing that, this wasn't bad, toxic people coming into a relationship trying to be malicious. This were two people sometimes who may have been good people, but when you're not happy somewhere, that lack of happiness can turn toxic. All right? That feeling of neglect can turn toxic. These things can make bad people or contribute to good people making bad decisions. And so if we would just not drag things on that don't belong, we could eliminate causing more damage in the long run. But to get back to the point, be honest with the man, be clear, whatever the reason is, just speak your truth. And then the second thing to this is try to create a support system where you can. All right. And this is more so after you've walked away. This is where letting people know, at least one person, is good, because now you have someone that can help hold you accountable. So having that accountability partner is always a great thing in anything that we struggle with and we're trying to accomplish. All right. As well as that support system that can be there, someone that you can lean on, can assist you in those moments when you're feeling weak. All right. And when I say weak, when we're struggling, I don't want to use the word weak right now. When we're struggling and that we're having a hard time, because it's normal to miss someone even if they're not best for you. It's normal to think, well, maybe I made the wrong decision, but you didn't. You did what was best. So having that support system will help. So when you can, whether that be a friend, a family member, whether that be going to a coach or therapist, whether that be joining a women's group, joining the membership program, whatever it is, it's going to help you. Do it. Because at the end of the day, the goal is for you to get to where you belong, to live your best life, and to receive all the blessings that God has for you. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. Has a man ever tried to manipulate you? I'm sure the chances are you've had that experience at least once. And if you haven't, there's a very good chance you may come across it at some point. The unfortunate reality in life is there are people out